Anyone who witnesses Ernst Hermann Meier with his cattle would find it hard to believe him capable of actually slaughtering them.
I have to try really hard to switch off. When I have to go out to shoot an animal, I can't have negative thoughts. I can't go out thinking, I want to kill this animal now. The animal would notice. They have incredible antennae and pick up everything.
There's a calm atmosphere in the stalls. The animals, like their keeper, are relaxed. Meier's cattle don't have ear tags. Attaching them would destroy the farmer's system.
It would make it impossible for me to walk among them without risking life and limb. I would always have to be aware that bulls might attack because they feel threatened, because they think now he's going to come and do something bad to us. And that's not the case at the moment, so we have to avoid it at all costs.
He still had to buy the tags, he just hasn't used them. They're lying about in plastic bags in his office.
You put them in this tool here, and then this rivet punches the tag through the ear. As you can imagine, it's very painful for the animals, and they try to get rid of them. But they can't unless they get stuck. And then they're either torn out or they break off.
Instead of ear tags, Meier uses little transponders, which he injects into the animals with minimal pain. But that goes against EU directives. Following the BSE epidemic in the 90s, Brussels made it mandatory for farmers to tag their cattle. The idea was that it would be easier to trace the origin of tagged cows. Members of Tübingen's Regional Commission have little understanding for Meier's approach. They don't agree that ear tags put the animals through undue pain and discomfort.
There are a lot of cattle farms that have their animals out at pasture all year round, and the animals are all tagged. Very few of them walk around with frayed ears. That's a fact. I'm not saying it can't happen, just that it doesn't happen very often.
Veterinarian Helge Oberwittler begs to differ. She's seen an increasing number of injuries that are a direct result of the cow's plastic tags getting caught up somewhere.
Richtig problematisch wird es, wenn sie dann zum Beispiel
It really becomes a problem when you have to re-tag grown bulls.
Da ist es sogar schon zu Todesfällen gekommen.
Some of them have even died in the process. The measures you have to use to get to their ears, to actually be able to tag them, has resulted in their necks being broken because they get so worked up.
The veterinarian is at a gathering hosted by Meier. Posters leave the guests in no doubt that the farmer regards ear tagging as animal cruelty. And Meier seems to never tire of telling his guests why. And he's already managed to convince some cattle farmers to join him in his boycott of the ear tags.
Nobody would insist on tagging horses as a way of tracing their origin, although horses can also be victims of epidemics. There would be fierce lobbying against such a move. With cows, they say ear tags have to be visible so their animals' origins can be traced and epidemics can be kept under control. But that makes no sense to me.
Farmer Meier is angered by a letter from the Ministry of Agriculture. It equates tagging cattle with ear piercing for people. He finds it cynical.
It's a completely ridiculous method of identification which should not be used on living animals in this day and age. We find it completely reprehensible to insist that animals walk around wearing number plates like cars. It's simply outrageous.
When he has to check the identity of his animals, he uses a modern scanner. It receives information from the transponders. If it were up to him, the equipment would be widely used. Years ago, the farmer won a battle with the authorities to be able to use his mobile slaughter box. He refused to take his cattle to the slaughterhouse on the grounds that they had to endure hours of fear before they got there, so he's allowed to shoot them himself and then transport them in this box. Now he has to deal with a lot of red tape and fears he'll have a legal battle on his hands. He thinks there's an economic factor behind the insistence on ear tagging.
Every time the ear tags get lost or break off, the farmer has to buy new ones. That's the curious thing about it. And it's wrong for state authorities to support such a business and keep it afloat.
The EU doesn't want to make any changes to the ear tagging laws, but Ernst Hermann Meier is equally reluctant to concede ground. If he loses this battle, his livelihood would be at stake. In the worst-case scenario, he would no longer be able to sell his cattle for meat.